first off, with the Eric Jones Day that you had today, you know, a lot of drivers are on vacation in some nice spots. I heard about them when I was covering the race, but you're here with your fans. What does it mean for you to get back to the city of Byron?
Well, it's always good for me. I mean, it's still kind of home for me. It still feels like home, and anytime we can come out and thank the people for the support is just really kind of close to home for me. It's a big core group of my fans are from this area, and to have a day where we can kind of thank them for being supporters of my career, this means a lot to me. And I love that we had a great turnout. We had a nice day, nice weather, and everybody was able to come out and have a good time.
Now, how active are you in planning this? I mean, this was fun. People bounced from one activity to the other. They had a great time. I mean, was you heavily involved, or did you just, your mom says, trust me, this is going to work?
Well, I had the idea. I wanted to do something like this and kind of gave a groundwork for it, I guess. But then really from there, it was Amy, my mom, Rob Vandermark here in Byron, who really came and put it all together. You know, I was just able to, I did the easy part. I said, hey, I want to do this. How do we make it happen? And they really took and ran with it. It took about a year to really plan this event. So it was nice to see it all come together. And when you put this much work and effort into an event, you want to see it play out nicely, and I feel like today did.
I'm going to do a follow-up. The $6,000 check, how in the world did you get involved with that? You're never going to probably see a race here, so why did you end up doing it?
Well, I wanted to give something to the school and give back to them, and a way, obviously, giving back is good for me and feels good, but just to thank them as well for letting us use their grounds for this last couple of days and setting up our event here and giving us their parking lots and everything. And I was trying to find out something they needed help with, and the track and field team is needed some work, and it was the one thing that I could kind of help out with.
Now, turning to NASCAR, now 3 years ago you were a rookie, now you're a young veteran. I think just a solid veteran in NASCAR. What have you learned from day one to now on how to pace yourself and prepare yourself for a race? Because you had been a wide-eyed driver in the beginning, and now you're not.
Yeah, it's been a big change. You know, you kind of learn as you go how to deal with the longer races, the competition, and 3 years in, you feel like you have a good idea of the tracks and the competitors, and you've raced with the guys enough to know how to race everybody and how everybody's going to race you, and that takes time to learn, but it's definitely changed the way I've approached each week over the years. Every time I go back to a track, you learn a little bit, and that's kind of been the biggest thing for me.
And finally, so far, your season's been pretty good, but I think you feel like you got a little bit of meat left on the bone. Obviously, winning a lot of races is big, but is there anything else on your short list that's going to help you get there?
Well, I think that's what we just need to do. You know, we've got such fast cars, and we've got a great team and good pit crew, and we just need to get it all put together and have the solid days. You know, we've had races where I feel like we've had opportunities to win and haven't been able to capitalize, and the nice thing is we've still got months to go till the playoffs start, and I feel like we can win a few races before then. So I'm going to try to do it and hopefully make it happen.
Well, for Eric Jones Day in Byron, Michigan at Byron High School, this is Roy Jakers, Midwest Sports Scene. We expect you to, can you practice your podium on the way out? I know that you're going to be there. I am very confident. Thanks.
Unbeatable price, service, selection, and customer satisfaction?
That's the Gowling difference. Only at Gowling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Your Ram store.
During the spring sales event, lease a 2018 Ram 1500 Bighorn Quad Cab 4x4 starting at $199 a month employee, $259 friends and family. Or during the Ram Truck Month, lease a 2018 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4, just $239 employee, $289 friends and family. Get to Gowling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Telegraph, north of Square Lake, just west of I-75 at exit 75.
Roy Akers, Midwest Sports Scene, Steve Schweitzer, the Last Go Press. The PJ1 compound is being tried for the first time ever at MIS.
That's correct, Roy. The drivers seem to have a little bit of a mixed response to it.
They've stayed away from it during practice and qualifying so far. I'm excited to see what happens during the race. I think it's going to be really exciting, especially on restarts.
We have driver reactions.
I'd really like to be an armchair and make a decision Sunday night. I think at the end of the day, it's done to try and make the racing better for the fans. Will it work or will it not work? I don't know. But I didn't think there was a bad race here last spring. But NASCAR is just trying new things and always trying to improve the racing and things that we can do. And I always appreciate effort, and I know there was a lot of effort put into it. So I'm not thoroughly convinced it's going to work. I'm not thoroughly convinced it's not going to work. I could see either side, and I think it's kind of a jump ball.
I have been all good with the PJ1 pretty much anywhere we've gone so far. I think it's done nothing but help and improve the racing, widen the racetrack out, which has been good. Obviously, first time here. We've all been in qualifying trim the first practice. We haven't touched it. I watched a little bit of truck practice. It looks like they were flirting with it a little bit, but they weren't really committing to it yet. It's pretty far up there. It might be a little bit too high. Not much. But, I think NASCAR's done a good job at, trying to use, the drivers, Goodyear teams, trying to collaborate to try to understand what is the best places to put it to improve the racing even after the race. And coming back to you and say, well, what do you think? Like, should we do this more or that more? And try to, grow a notebook on how to improve it. Great. I think that's good. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with trying to make it better. I don't think the product is awful here to start with, but I do think, hey, if we widen the racetrack out, there's more room to build runs, and you'll see more, three-wide racing to where when the guy gets out there on the outside, he's not hanging on and sliding all the way to the wall and loses 10 spots, right, on a restart. So, it's the PJ1 is something that we're all still learning about. We're learning about, how it works at each surface. It works different at Charlotte than it does at Michigan or than it does at Bristol and than it does at Kentucky, right? And the way it gets activated, the way it wears out, how much grip it actually puts back into the racetrack. Those are all things that we're trying to, as a team, we're trying to figure it out. As a sport, we're trying to figure it out. But I like that the avenue we're going down and playing with it.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to be messing with, and I think there's racetracks that really need it. Back when we were going really fast here, I think that this was probably a racetrack that really needed it bad. It's so far up the racetrack here, I think everybody is a little concerned it might be a little too far around for the amount of power we have. I feel like that's the big question mark, you're not lifting enough to make up a longer distance. Used to RPM would overcome distance if you could if you could move up high enough and get it.
Good. Steve, driver reaction is mixed. What do you say?
I think it's great. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to make for a great race on Sunday.
Well, for Steve Schweitzer, Roy Akers, we'll find out.
This is for every girl who's ever been laughed at or told she doesn't belong.
This is for every girl who's been told she's too loud, too quiet, too this or too that.
This is for every girl who thinks her body isn't good enough.
This is for every girl who feels she doesn't fit in.
This is for every girl who's been told that success and kindness are two different things.
This is for every girl who's been told to give up.
This is us crushing it for you, so you can crush it for the next girl.
Hi, I'm Thad Zott with Zott M59 Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. It's April, and you know what time it is.
Joe Koser here, and it's time for hockey in the D.
Whoa, big fella. I'm Rod Allen, and I'm here to tell you it's time for baseball in the D.
Rod, Joe, you're both right. But there is one thing bigger in the D. The deal, baby! DealsInTheD.com is where you'll find every vehicle listed with our very best price.
During our spring clearance event, we have leases starting at $129 per month. DealsInTheD.com.
That's country strong.
Friday practice sessions at MIS are awesome as it's combined with Media Day. The drivers give us all their opinions on a variety of subjects. We take you to it.
Ricky, with your position in the point standings, do you feel like in the next 4 races you got to win one of them?
Oh, 100%. We got to win. It's a bummer. I feel like we've been faster this year than the previous years on at least mile-and-a-half racetracks and some of the other tracks that we go to. So it's a bummer we're kind of in that spot, but I think we get our car good here. Strategy, there's all different ways these races can play out, and I don't think Michigan is our best opportunity to win, but I do think it's an opportunity where if the situation arises that you might be able to get something done. But Bristol is by far the one that we circle.
Ricky, it seems to be
Dylan time. I mean, in August you've been like 4, 4, 4, and 7 the last 4 years out here. You feel real good about this August race being a circle in for a win or top 5?
Yeah, for sure. This has always been a great track for me, and I hope that we can capitalize on that. Like you said, we've had some really good finishes the second race around, and we did have a pretty solid package here. I rewatched the race and felt like we were top 10 car most of that day, and I feel like we brought a better race car this time around than that. So definitely a place that we have circled, and I want to win it. I mean, I think it would upset a lot of people in that playoff bubble, and we have the capability of doing that this weekend.
Cool. There's races where sprint cars are running the night before, like Charlotte, and I raced the night before at Chicago. So you already kind of have it, but it's not the same thing as morning of or whatever. But they did that deal earlier this year with Stadium Trucks at Texas, and I don't really know how that kind of came across to the fans or whatnot. But I don't know. And makeshift tracks are really tough to make the racing exciting. I'd hate to see them just throw dirt down on the infield or something and it be a terrible race, and then NASCAR fans who've never watched a dirt race before that's their only opinion of it. And
well, it doesn't make us put a point of emphasis. I mean, when you think about the tracks that are in the playoffs, I don't know that there's a 2-mile wide open track like this one. So we don't spend any more time on this than any other race, to be honest with you. So we focus every week to win that week, but we don't go out and build special cars just for Michigan because it's home of the the big three or whatever. So we enjoy when we can come here and run well. I think it's probably a little more coincidence than anything that we haven't
Now,
won
your
here.
father won at this track 7 times, I think 4 in a row back in the mid-'80s. What would it mean for you to win at MIS?
That'd be great. I haven't won enough to be picky, so anywhere is good for me. Anytime sounds good too. So this is definitely a frustrating place because we've had some really close runs here. So had a couple great opportunities that I pretty much threw in the trash can over there in the corner, and I would love to try to finish some of those days off.
And but actually, I think our first race up here, they built a track in '69, and Cale Yarborough was driving our car, or my dad's car at that time, and he won that first race. So we've been here pretty much ever since. But always coming to Michigan, to me, it's always about Ford Motor Company because it's important to them, and everyone has a home track. Like our home track would be Martinsville, Virginia. A lot of people seem to excel at home tracks, and some people are kind of snake bit at home tracks. But the good side of it, I think. The Fords, whatever model it happens to be, is always, had really good race cars up here.
Now you have the opinions from the drivers themselves. For www.MidwestSportsScene.com, this is Roy J. Akers reporting.
Our dad was a successful attorney. He didn't make a big fuss about himself, but everyone knew and respected him, like they do my brother Mike.
I didn't get a chance to practice with Dad, but we still consider ourselves a family law firm because we treat every client like family.
Giving you the same care and respect you'd give a family member.
That's the real advantage, and a commitment from me, Mike Morse. Call and see for yourself. 855-MIKE-WINS. 855-MIKE-WINS.
But, breaking into the business, breaking out of the top, 25 or 30 is kind of difficult to do. What are you guys doing to get yourself a lot more top 20s, the top 10, move up and then up, a little higher ranking?
Hoping people wreck more often. That's what I need to happen. Because we're about a 29th place car on speed about every week. and we need about 5 people to wreck, and then we can get into the top 25. Or we try to find some more sponsors and get some newer cars, get some better engines, and we run a little better. That's kind of the bottleneck for our competition right now. It's just lack of funding. We are funded just enough to run how we are right now. So we try to beat the people that we feel like we're on the same playing field as, but we can't race against the guys who have $10 to $28 million budgets every week.
So, you know you're a top 10 talent. You know you're higher than that. It's just really a matter of getting a little bit more money and maybe getting that right sponsor to see that Corey LaJoie is the guy.
I mean, you see it now. You're really handicapped by what you're driving just because you see a guy like Matt DiBenedetto, who's in a pretty good car this year in that 95. He was running just where I'm at, right around, maybe a little bit. My average finish is 2 spots higher than his was in the same exact equipment last year. So, and he's finished in the top 5 4 or 5 times now and runs really well most of the time. So that just goes to show you're only as good as the horse you're sitting on every week. And if I get an opportunity to sit on a top 5, top 10 horse, then I'm going to finish there and hopefully a little better. So that's the goal. But for now, I'm just going to try to be diligent where I'm at and try to keep making this small team better each and every week. But sometimes we're fighting with both hands tied behind our back.
That you guys are lacking from being back in track and field is a timing clock and a scoring tower, right? Well, hopefully, thanks to Eric Jones, this will help you out, get you back on your way.
Before Tim Fedewa became a spotter for Kevin Harvick, he was a very successful driver himself.
Yeah, I had a lot of good people behind me, I come from a racing family, my dad, my grandfather, my uncles, my cousins, my grandmother, and a lot of good friends that helped me get going in racing here in Michigan.
Yeah, Tim Fedewa was a huge asset to this 4 team. Kevin spent a lot of time recruiting which spotter he wanted when we started this team in 2014, and he listened to a number of spotters and liked the way that Tim Fedewa did and the way that he sounded on the radio and his demeanor. And I think that's what makes Tim so strong is he's just very, very mild-mannered. He doesn't get easily excited on the spotter stand, and he stays calm in an exciting situation. So that really helps Kevin stay focused on his task at hand.
Fedewa's career ranks all the way up to a NASCAR where he had just one only start for Richard Petty years ago. And for Fedewa, being a spotter is a culmination of a career where he can help out a car team win a championship.
I mean, we've been together like 6 years now, so our communication, I think, is pretty good.
One more here. 3 wide bottom again. Stay low. It's going to be 4 wide getting in 3. Keep digging low, low, low. Let me get up there outside now. Outside. Get 2 by 2 here.
But he knows most of the time, as long as I keep talking, the hard part you got, sometimes things happen quick, and if a spotter quits talking, that confuses the driver, so I just try to keep talking and explain to him what's going on. But, just basically clear is the most important one that he likes to hear when he's passing somebody, and we try to keep, if I'm saying clear all day, that means we're passing cars, so that's where we try to keep it.
For Midwest Sports Scene, this is Roy J. Akers reporting.
Unbeatable price, service, selection, and customer satisfaction?
That's the Gowling difference. Only at Gowling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Your Ram store.
During the spring sales event, lease a 2018 Ram 1500 Bighorn Quad Cab 4x4 starting at $199 a month employee, $259 friends and family. Or during the Ram Truck Month, lease a 2018 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4, just $239 employee, $289 friends and family. Get to Gowling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Telegraph, north of Square Lake, just west of I-75 at exit 75.
Awesome. Roush is so deserving being in the Hall of Fame. What made he credits your relationship early on that you guys forged with the success that he said you definitely made him successful.
Well, we did together. We did it together. Jack gave me the opportunity, tools, and the resources to achieve, my potential and my dreams. And Jack was a hard-working, determined, dedicated, tough individual. And he was as determined as I was to succeed in the sport.
Now, while you didn't win a NASCAR championship, you finished second a whole bunch of times. Really, your career was absolutely second to none with everything that you accomplished. What is the biggest thing that you take away from all the years that you drove?
I was just so fortunate to have got the opportunity to live my dreams, a chance to work with some of the greatest people in motorsports history. And, I just couldn't be more grateful to Jack Roush and everybody who had anything to do with my success and my career. I look back on it and you could convince me that I was dreaming, that it never really happened. Just really, really lucky to have been able to live my dream.
Now, this was the 50th anniversary of this MIS track. You had a lot of success here. What is one memory that you had of this track that you'd like to share?
I think winning the race in 2009 when we had a really fast car, but we weren't going to make it on fuel, so I had to slow down and let Jimmie Johnson and Greg Biffle run on away out in front of me. And right on the last lap, Jimmie ran out of gas, and then Biffle ran out of gas on the back stretch, and I cruised right by him, saving fuel, and slipped on in there and got the surprise win. It was a really exciting day.
Well, I appreciate that, Mark. This has really been a real dream come true, getting to ride with a NASCAR Hall of Famer and coming back and reliving a couple of memories in one of the iconic tracks on the entire NASCAR circuit.
Play it on Xbox when I was young, just to understand the tracks a little bit more and to know that there are legit simulated tracks out there in these simulators and seats and just all that's there. I mean, that is really helpful in for anyone learning a new car, a new track. That's a resource that even pros use. So without a doubt, it has to speed things up or has to bring new people along and into the sport.
Jimmie, you touched on a moment ago the different rules here at this track. How does that change your strategy as a driver going into this race?
We don't look at the notebook as deeply as we typically would. We're dealing with a lot of new terms, new philosophies, and how to get these cars to create speed and then also drive well in the draft. So it's kind of the more current philosophies from this year, and really not looking too far back to the 2018 notes.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Have you been in the simulator to prepare for Sonoma?
No, I haven't.
Do you intend to be, or is that something that's on your schedule?
No, I tried for a lot of years to use the simulator for every track, and it's tracks with high braking, so road courses specifically. It really didn't help me any, and on top of that, I got really nauseous inside of it. So with those two things, I haven't done any road course testing in the simulator, and even on ovals, I've found that like at a Martinsville, Richmond, that the braking is so different that it takes me the first outing or two on track in the real car to get my braking marks back, and that's just time we don't have anymore, especially with a 50-minute practice session. So I've kind of shied away from the simulator more this year than ever.
So what do you anticipate your strategy will be with the new carousel? I mean, do you expect to approach it differently than you have in the past?
No, I mean, just keep it on the blacktop if you can, I've driven that section before. I know of it. It's a couple different turns, but it's not that substantial in my opinion. So I could be completely wrong when I get there, but I don't think it's gonna be a problem.
Did you run it earlier in your career at all?
I did a Skip Barber driving school up there a long time ago, so I've been on the track, but again, it was quite some time ago.
Do you have big plans for the off week?
I do. We're gonna travel. We're heading over to Greece for the off weekend. It's been on our kind of hit list, wish list, if you will, for a long time. So we'll have a nice trip.
Girls, all the girls?
Yep. That's just us four. We'll have a great time. We've got a few stops we're going to make along the way, and really going to enjoy it.
One last question on Robles. That one at Charlotte last fall, that was an awesome race. Do you hope that they chase, what they're now calling it, chase? Do you hope that they change it, maybe put another race or two on there, or test you guys out a little bit, or you want to finish it all on the high bank speedways?
Yeah, I mean, I had a shot at winning. So ultimately, we were very competitive in that race. I'd love to go race on a real road course, not one that's kind of fabricated there in the infield. There's some beautiful facilities around the country that I'd love to go and race at, but as long as people deem it was successful, and if there are people that continue to come back and watch it, then I'll bite my lip and keep doing it.
And, another thing too, I understand the attendance is way up this weekend. They're saying that the pre-sale tickets are up. That's got to make you guys feel good after a couple of down years that fans are coming back, seeing what a great value NASCAR is.
Yeah, I think we see it through digital and through TV. Numbers have been trending up this year. This package has really created some aggressive and competitive racing, and I think the fans are responding by buying tickets to come out and watch it.
Hi, I'm Thad Zott with Zott M59 Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. It's April, and you know what time it is.
Joe Koser here, and it's time for hockey in the D.
Whoa, big fella. I'm Rod Allen, and I'm here to tell you it's time for baseball in the D.
Rod, Joe, you're both right. But there is one thing bigger in the D, the deal, baby. DealsInTheD.com is where you'll find every vehicle listed with our very best price.
During our spring clearance event, we have leases starting at $129 per month. DealsInTheD.com.
That's country strong.
Rusty, I'm Roy Akers. I'm with Midwest Sports Scene. I do a lot of auto and all that. Anyway, with that, Roger almost got I call it the Penske double a couple weeks ago with the winning the Indy 500, almost got the Coca-Cola 600. I tell you what, there couldn't be a finer accomplishment, although he's accomplished many things.
Well, we all love Roger, no doubt about that, and that team. What they've been able to accomplish is unreal. With the winning the 500 and following up a week later to win the IndyCar race up in Belle Isle in that area. Just a great run out of him. What he's been able to accomplish, we're all proud of, that's for sure.
Now, you have won so many times on this track, but now it's a one-groove track. Wouldn't it be awesome if this was a two-groove track at least? Well,
it's maybe a one-groove track in certain points of the race. So let's just hope with the new rules package they've got here this week that the track's going to widen out. We're going to see 2 and 3 wide racing. That's my goal for these guys and my hope. So I think it's going to happen. Horsepower is completely different for the Cup cars. Last year it was about 800 horsepower. Now they're all the way down to 550. They almost doubled the downforce. They've tried a lot of things to make the racing better for the fans, and I got to commend NASCAR for trying. They're doing a good job at that.
Well, final question. You're on MRN. I think we all enjoy listening to you. If you could practice your boogity, would you ever consider going to TV, or you like it where you're at?
No, I like where I'm at right now. I did TV for 9 years, and those guys were fantastic to me, but I enjoy what I'm doing right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.